Now we have another prominent speaker with us, Mr. Firouz Firouz, who happens to be also the grandson of the former owner of the Italian residence where you are right now being. Together with us at this event. Firouz Firouz is a prominent architect who studied and worked abroad, also in New York. He collaborated with Italian architects as well, including Vittorio Giorgini, who is an Italian pioneer architect. You came back to Iran in 1990 and established your own architectural studio, which is Firouz Firouz. And you are today with us. Thank you for coming to give a few words about the Villa magazine and especially the issue about the contemporary villas in Italy. And you are going to talk to us about the future of the villa. So thank you again and please up.
خب درود میگم به همه چون ما ایرانیم منم سلام به ایرانی میکنم مثل همه و خوش آمدین به این باغ زیبا که این خودش هم یه ویلاست واقعا و ما تو ایران بهش میگیم کوشک و برای ما کوشک در یه باغه و باغ برای ما اون مفهوم ویلا رو داره واقعا. Thank you for inviting us, Mr. Ambassador. I'm glad that we are all here in this beautiful garden. This garden by itself, it's a villa. Because we in Iran, we name the villa Kushk, and the Kushk is always in the garden. So it's a pleasure to be really in the interpretation of the Iranian villa. Villa is a term we use, as Kamran said, is derived from Latin, is the Villa Italian, but the Greeks had it, the Iranians had it, and it spans from Japan all the way to Europe and even to Egypt. So it's a very international subject that Mr. Abu Talebi has chosen to really focus on and then expand on that. And as we know, the villa has been always a platform from experimental architecture, which somehow redefines the way of our life. And we talked about Italian architects. I was fortunate enough to work with one, not even work, to be his student. His name was Vittorio Giorgini, and I consider him really a man of innovation. And on the contrary of Villa Malaparte, he was extremely concerned with nature, and his first goal was to integrate his architecture with nature. And it was a time of very innovation in Europe, especially after the war and the legacy that Nervi had given the Italian architects. So he was experimenting with thin shell structure, which in reality is a continuous surface which can be folded and create spaces. And he created a house which later was called the Whale, and is in Barati region of Italy, and it still stands one of the most innovative structures pertaining to a villa, because not only he defines the way you live in it, but he defines its relation to nature and its structure, which is very organic. So it's for me, it's one of the most important villas that I have experienced, and I admire. The subject that for me is interesting is how the villa has become something that everybody wants. And wanting a villa has created a crisis that we are all the time expanding and building into nature. And I'm wondering, when would it stop? And what is more important? Is the villa more important as an experimental tool for architecture, or it's time to decide that no, environment is more important, and therefore the landscape is more important, and architecture should be obedient to that. So this is a question for me each time that I design something in Iran, is to give more importance to, in reality, saving the planet rather than, you know, building and building and under the pretext of experimenting with villas. So this is the problem we're having and how to resolve it, really. So to make my speech a bit short, I would like to quote, maybe some of you know him, Slavoj Žižek, who is a philosopher and economist and psychologist. He says that we cannot change the way we approach the environmental issue if we don't become radical about it. Because when we talk about environment, we always find solutions to justify everything. For example, we say, oh, this is nature friendly, we consume less. But this doesn't solve the problem. The problem still continues to be the expansion of the human race and the destruction of our planet that we are witnessing. So I will end my speech by quoting him. The only way to confront and resolve the ecological crisis is to introduce a new economic order that changes the very way we produce things and relate to the object of our production. So in reality, he is bringing the subject of ownership and this idea that we should own everything and therefore to destroy whatever has made us become who we are and to enjoy, for example, this kind of gardens. Thank you very much.